This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
Boring. 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 Boring.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
I call again for the immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the return of the sausages, the hostages.
Welcome to a rather exclusive edition of Lembit Öpik Live here on unprecedented.tv, where we actually interview the newest councillor in the United Kingdom, and that is Councillor Alan Cook from Reform UK, who won a stunning by-election victory in London. Lots of reasons that is first. Lots of reasons that could be a problem for Kemi Badenoch. But first of all, thank you for the ever-increasing numbers for us here at unprecedented.tv. So many different shows, so much free speech. And please do carry on liking, reposting, and telling people to come to watch us if you think that's a good idea. I'm Lembit Öpik, and I've been working with the team to give you as much free speech as possible. And today, we're joined by somebody who has spoken up, perhaps rather to the chagrin of the Conservative Party. It's Alan Cook, Councillor Alan Cook, who has just won a stunning by-election victory over the Conservatives. Congratulations on your amazing middle-of-the-night win, Alan. How do you feel?
Tired, but thank you. The Councillor Cook bit, that's going to take a little bit of getting used to. But first day, new dawn, hell of a couple of weeks. I can see my family again now. The team behind me, a very small team, but clearly a very effective team, because to actually beat the big Tory machine in their home ground, this is incredible. What we've done is just rolled up a tank onto their front lawn. So there was an awful lot of unhappy Tories in the count last night. Quite jocular and pleasant, and happy to talk to me at the beginning of the night. But as things progressed, you could see their faces were dropping, and it wasn't tiredness. It was realization of what pretty much had just happened right on their doorstep. This is a very, very much a Tory stronghold. Well, I should say it was a Tory stronghold. It clearly isn't anymore.
Well, that's the thing. Now, let's take a step back for those people who don't understand. And essentially, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching breaking news here, because it was only hours ago, in the small hours of the night, when the man you're watching me interview got elected for the first time as a councillor. For those who aren't familiar with what happened, you were standing in a by-election which was caused by the sad passing away of another councillor. That's what caused the by-election. And this was a Tory, a Conservative, safe seat. Hasn't been lost for years. And Reform was nowhere near. I think to round up the number of votes that you got the last time, it was 0%. Is that right?
Well, we haven't stood there before. So it was 0%. So, we are a new party. We didn't have the all of the procedures in place in the software that the sort of legacy parties have. So we were really fighting it by the seat of our pants. But it's obviously the tide has turned. The public have had enough of the dinosaurs, the legacy parties, and they want a fresh set of eyes on things. And
you're jumping ahead, though. Okay, just to set the scene, because people around the country, around the world, won't understand this. Right, so a local council which runs the area, the town, if you like, that bit of London, only Conservatives elected in that area. You didn't even have a candidate. You had no percent. Labour came a comfortable third. Liberal Democrats up there somewhere as well. You suddenly come in this by-election and you go from 0 to hero. Let's talk about the figures before we go into
Well,
the
I don't think
implications.
winning puts you into the hero bracket. Actually doing a good job as a councillor and looking after the electorate, that will make you a hero, or just a good councillor, really. That's what a councillor's supposed to do. That's just his job. So I don't really think the hero comes into it at all.
All right,
But
you don't want to talk about the figures. I'm going to put the figures up there. Let's
okay,
look at them.
sure.
Right,
But before we
now,
do, can I just say, condolences to Jonathan Laidlaw's family, because he was the councillor that passed away recently, sadly. But he was a jocular, he's a happy chappy. I met him a lot of times. He was quite a good advocate for reform, and he actually came along to a few of our meetings. So it's sad, but actually, it's what he would have wanted. So in that respect, it makes me happy to actually win, above actually wanting to win and getting into that position so we can make a difference in Bromley.
I should actually say on that point, Alan, that you were the one who introduced me to him. I was once there looking at what was happening, looking at whether there could be a political earthquake in your part of the country and the city of London, and he was a very pleasant man. And I have to say, very surprised whenever he passed away. And we do have to think about his family. I think it's gracious of you to say that. And that left a vacancy. And obviously, the Conservatives assumed they would win that seat. Labour, Liberal Democrats, obviously in the game as well. I met the Liberal Democrat candidate. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But these were the results, I think. They were quite substantial, not least because you seem to be very much in a position of, well, starting from a zero base. You hadn't stood there before. And look at the figures. You, Alan Cook, Reform UK, got 1,342 votes. Ruth Fabricant from the Green Party got a tiny, minuscule 185 votes. I think they're out of the scene. I'll ask you about that later. Laura Christine McCracken, the Liberal Democrat, 540 votes. Elizabeth Hookway Morgan, Labour Party, 720 votes, barely ahead of the fairly useless Lib Dem performance. And then Ian Frederick Payne, the Conservatives, apparently the local Conservatives, to try to differentiate themselves from the national Conservatives. I want to ask you about Kemi Badenoch in a minute. 1,161 votes. Now, some of the best psephologists, a psephologist is somebody who talks about politics, they predicted yesterday a majority for you of potentially around 200. And it wasn't far off that. It was around
181, I think.
Yeah. Well, you would know that figure exactly. 28% turnout, once again. Some were telling me that it'd be something like that. That is a substantial victory. I take it there was no recount.
Oh, not at all. That it's not a big number for a general election, but for a local election, that's a high enough percentage of the votes for people to realise that if there is a small error, it's not going to make any difference at all. And they were actually one of the most professional count teams I've come across. So my hat's off to them. Actually, they were quick, they were effective, and so we were home reasonably early, but at 1 o'clock something. So no, it was a good team, and I don't think they made any mistakes. There was no recounts. There's no sort of rebundle counts. So it's just a very positive end to a very busy day, week, and month. Actually,
I'm not sure quite why the Greens highlighted on this. Just to explain the order, I'm told it's because it's alphabetical. Maybe it's to highlight how preposterously weak the Greens are there. I am hoping that this indicates, our estimate is they got about 4%. I'm hoping this indicates that the Greens are no longer credible in the eyes of the public.
The Green Party pretty much is a communist party masquerading as an environmentalist party, because if you actually look at their policies, it's quite frightening. It's all about wealth redistribution.
Well, we've also got the Liberal Democrat. Let me just say, someone I know met was Laura McCracken, the Liberal Democrat, who's I think American by birth, and then the most extraordinary debate with her where she implied the most. I haven't independently corroborated this, so I don't want to go too far because it's so ludicrous what I was told that she said, but she suggested that extreme force should be used in Ukraine. And she said that, I know this for a fact because I heard it, that her number one priority in politics was Ukraine above all else. I'm not sure how she thought that.
Well,
Bromley
I don't think
Council.
Bromley Council has much input, influence, or policy on Ukraine, to be honest. So, let's keep it local.
Well, she wasn't keeping it very local when I heard her say that. I mean, it was just making a mockery of the local elections. Most people would probably be more interested in her policy on potholes rather than on
but we're
gravity
seeing
bombing
it with
Russia.
Gaza. So people are getting voted into government positions on their stance on Gaza. We are coming into a dangerous and unprecedented time in politics. So let's keep it local. Let's keep it UK. And we are the only UK-centric party. All the others are pretty much the Uni Party. All four of them are sort of global socialists. So we're the only party that puts the electorate, the UK citizen, and this country first. So one of the reasons we're doing so well is people now actually realise that. And this, I know it's a cracking win locally in Bromley. I am the first Reform UK councillor in Bromley, and that's quite an achievement. However, there's 32 boroughs in the Greater London area, and I'm actually the first elected Reform councillor in the whole of the GLA, so the whole of Greater London.
That is pretty frightening for the Conservatives. I understand also that Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the Conservatives, made a visit yesterday during the election.
Yesterday. It's a bit of a toss of the dice, isn't it? She's at risk of losing one of their crown jewels, one of their super safe seats in a super safe area, and a historic Tory area. So she has a decision to make. Do I not go there and risk my appearance, not making the difference they need, or do I go down there and add a small percentage or whatever that may be, how many hundred votes the leader of the party gains by going to a by-election. So if she does go down and they still lose, her presence doesn't make a great enough difference. That is not a great optic for her. She took that gamble and she's lost. So this may have repercussions over the next days and weeks for her position within the Tory party.
That's the thing. I'm asking, does this actually challenge her leadership of the party? Because I heard from people who were at that by-election. I knew it was a really important by-election. I knew it was something of a test case. She turned up in a by-election, a local government by-election, and they still lost to Reform UK. They still lost to you. You must have been a bit surprised, maybe you weren't, that she made the effort of going there. They must be.
I was a little concerned because, we have a very small team down here and amazing team. My campaign manager is just unbelievable. I think he slept properly in the last few weeks. So he was a little bit ratty by the end of it, but we forgive him for the result. But I was a little bit shocked and a little bit worried when Kemi turned up. But we've got the groundswell behind us, and this is where having a national party that people believe and trust in behind you actually really helps as well. So obviously we did a lot of work locally. We spoke to thousands of people on the doorstep, but also they see a growing party that has their best interests at heart at local and national level. So it's a winning combination. It's going to be difficult, I think, now to stop us in a lot of the upcoming by-elections in Greater London.
That's your campaign manager was Clifford. I don't know what his surname was.
Miller.
Clifford. Well, You can name check him if you want. You're the victor. You're the victor. But this chap Clifford was apparently, according to social media, seen sitting outside a pub in the rain, giving
Well,
leaflets out.
the ward has 3 pubs in it, and they're all pro-reform. So, pretty much, if you want to drink in your ward, you've got to vote reform. We will be having a victory
That's
party
a heady
in one of the pubs.
I'm not sure you can back that up. I'm not sure it's a legal
Of course, I can't
requirement.
back it up, but that's said in jest, of course.
So anyway, this chap Clifford, your campaign manager, was sitting outside in the rain, and from what I can see, from what my team were able to see in knocking together the program this morning, there were videos of you being outside the pub. Why were they?
People were
doing this?
photographing us and videoing us outside the pub, and they really are. They say these parties say they're against hate. They are the parties of hate, and we were being videoed and photographed at every opportunity. And they were calling the police if they believed that someone was breaching any of the electoral rules. And some of them were saying, including the Tories, I've been doing this for 35 years. I know the electoral law. The only trouble is it's actually changed a lot in 35 years and they haven't actually kept up to date. So they kept on calling electoral services, calling the police. And there's rumours that I'd been arrested twice yesterday.
So hang on. What were they calling the police for? What were you doing? Were you causing an affray?
Oh, no, just talking to people as they approached the polling station and wearing a rosette with our emblem in the middle. So they hadn't realised that you're allowed to do that. So, the new guys got it right and the old guys got it very wrong there.
Hang on, let me just check. You were accused of breaking the law to the point that they might call the police because you were wearing a rosette, and on the basis of what, where you were standing?
Wearing a rosette, talking to people. They were phoning up the sort of head office of a pub chain, complaining that we were outside their pub, and they really.
Hang on, you're making this up. You're making this up.
No, absolutely not. This is what we're up against. They are worried. They are scared, and a lot of them are not nice people. I can't tell you what now. I can't. The electoral services in Bromley are very nice, very good at their job, and they can see through the BS, and they're not happy with it. They are not happy being used as pawns by other parties to try and strangle democracy and trying to stop reform. All they are doing really is pissing off the people that run democracy.
Language, Councillor. Don't use language like that, please. Carry on. Anyway, go
it's
on.
Old English. It's fine.
Okay, okay. I know what else is in Old English. We're not having any of that. Used to mean tilling the land. We're not saying it. But go on. The electoral services didn't like what was going on.
Well, of course not. It's they're doing their job. They don't want to be phoned up every 5 minutes by people accusing someone of wearing a rosette that doesn't meet requirements or having a conversation with someone outside a polling station. It's let's get on with it. Any serious breaches, obviously, look into. Anything which is anti-democratic, look into. But these people, they're whinging, they're whining, they're attacking every opportunity. And we the electoral services said, "Oh, do you want to report anything? Is there anything that you've seen?" And I just said, "No, we're just getting on with the job." And if there's any serious attacks on democracy, I'll let you know. But otherwise, I'm not going to bother you.
So did they also accuse you of walking on the cracks on the pavement and looking at people in a funny way?
Most people are too old to know what you're referring to there, Lembit. But no, I didn't get accused of any of that.
Not the 9 o'clock news.
It was a fair fight, and we won.
Now, this does lead to some quite remarkable results. Can we just get the figures up again? I just want to be clear about this. this wasn't a close call, was it? I mean, it was basically. Can we just get? Yeah, there we are. Okay, thanks. 1,300 to 160, 200 vote majority. Doesn't sound like a lot, but I've been involved in politics a long time. That's a substantial win, especially from a standing start. Labour, absolutely nowhere. The Liberal Democrats, almost at a joke level, considering they got 72 MPs, and obviously
they have councillors in Bromley already as well, so they got a lot of help. They had a lot of their MPs come down as well, so they did rely on as I said earlier on, these parties, the legacy parties, do have big election machines behind them, and they have their leaders who can come down and trying to dig them out of holes, and their MPs to come down to force the situation. But unfortunately, none of that worked for them anyway.
Yeah. And why do you think none of it? Why do you think they didn't get any momentum there? Because frankly, the Liberal Democrat vote is pathetic, considering. I mean, I used to be a Liberal Democrat MP. I know how good the Liberal Democrats can be in a by-election situation, and they didn't.
Well, without that machine, what would their vote be? Their machine worked; it got them 540 votes. But without that big electoral machine behind them, what would they have got? 200 votes.
That's about 12.
It shows you the real. Sorry,
they only had got about 12 or 13%.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm guessing
without all that hard work, with all that machinery behind them, they would have got a few hundred votes. So it just shows that the support isn't there for them.
Now, is this the man who's responsible for your victory? Not you at all, Alan Cook.
I think both of those gentlemen are responsible for my victory, actually.
Oh, right. Okay. So your Napoleonic advance in politics means that you're equal to Nigel Farage, are you?
Absolutely not.
Have you told him you've said that?
I spent a lot of time in the ward, and what he's done, it's actually incredible the help he's put forward, because just about every other person you speak to says, "Oh, I know Nigel. I met Nigel." And it doesn't matter when they met him. If it's 30 years ago, they mention it. And Nigel down here, because he's a local lad, must have spent a lot of time in pubs and Waitrose, because that's it. I met Nigel in this pub. I met Nigel in the Waitrose here. So and I must have heard that about 150 times. So Nigel, over 30 years, has done an awful lot of groundwork for me down here.
Do you think you could have maybe put some more branding on this leaflet? Do you think it was sufficiently branded with Reform UK? I'm assuming.
We in Chatterton Village, it's a little sort of high street in the ward. We were outside and just handing out stickers to people. So on the polling day itself. So an awful lot of the population of Bromley Common and Holwood Ward that day were walking around with Reform stickers on them. So yeah, you can't overdo the branding.
Only because the branding seems to be working. I'm just wondering, I suspect it's only fairly early. If you're watching this live, it's fairly early. If you're watching the archive, then it could be any time. But I'm wondering if I'm guessing about 9 hours after the announcement, has Nigel Farage got in touch with you yet? Not that it really matters.
Lucky you, I jumped straight on your show, so I haven't actually checked my phone. It's been vibrating all morning, so I'll check it after the show.
That's very good of you to give us this exclusive, by the way.
Isn't it?
Well, yes, it is, because you must be exhausted. I know from my own political experience how hard the candidate is worked on election day, and you pretty much exhaust the activists too. And it was raining a lot. You guys must have got pretty wet yesterday.
Yeah, we had both extremes really. We at the beginning of the campaigning, we had like a mini heat wave, so scorched grass everywhere. And we had this team, zooming around, delivering leaflets, and it was hard work. It was really hard going. And then when we were, sort of moved on to more of the canvassing stage, yeah, we had rain, followed by a bit more rain. So many soggy leaflets. But you know, that our small team just kept on plugging on, and they got the job done.
There
We're
are two.
small but hardy bunch.
There are two women who may feature in this. I'm told from my team that that your partner was traveling around with Mad Max, somebody who's driving in a remarkable way to get from one place to another. We owe her.
But he didn't break any laws. I think you're probably referring to his sort of driving technique more than anything. But if you look around his car, there are no dents on it, so he can't be that dangerous. But I think someone did describe it as a fairground ride.
he was committed.
You know, on the doorstep, talking to people, so many people were mentioning speeding cars and errant parking. So I think speeding in the ward is a big issue, and it's something that I'll have to look into very, you know, severely, because you know, it'd be nice to get back to the ways where our kids could, you know, play in the streets a bit more. So with the cars zooming around at these great speeds, I'm not an advocate for 20 miles an hour everywhere. Totally against that, apart from outside schools. But we do need to look at excess speed. And yeah, I never went in the car with Mad Max, so you know, I can't really comment too much.
Well, that's one of the questions which my team came up with. I know that election day can be quite stressful, so there we go. And
well,
I don't think
I tend to just flow with it. You know, there's no by the count time that, you know, your job is done. There's no more influence you can have, so there's no point really stressing over it. But I must admit, when seeing how close it was, I was getting quite nervous at the end, and I didn't actually prepare a winning speech. I didn't want to jinx it, but I just thought, you know, what are the possibilities of us beating this sort of behemoth of a party on their own doorstep, and with them rolling in the leader as well. You know, it's a Herculean task what we've done. So I didn't have a winning speech, basically.
Well, I'm surprised at that, because I thought that you probably would be wanting to win. You don't come across as an arrogant person, but you certainly
No,
come
I want
across
to
as
win,
a,
of course I do. But the odds of winning, I would have thought, were so short. But you know, it's the people what done it in the end. You know, they believed in me, they believed in the party, they believed in our leader over those three things for the other party. You know, their candidate, their policy, and leader. So all to them, really. You know, it's a public that have created this victory.
I have to say, as somebody who's been involved in politics professionally for 40 years, it's a stunning result. A stunning result.
Mm.
It means that if you can win in, what's the name of your ward?
It's Bromley Common and Holwood, but this is a pathfinding victory. You know, I'm the first elected Reform UK councillor in London, and that is a huge press-worthy event. So I'm probably going to have a few more people knocking on my door quite soon, and yeah, it's going to take a while for it to sink in fully. Put it that way. You know, people have already started calling me Councillor Cook, so that's going to take a while to sink in as well.
I have to say, you have a stature and a caution with your words that I haven't been aware of before. I hope this doesn't mean that you're just going to become part of the mainstream.
Absolutely not. No, I'm just I'm tired. I've got my coffee here. I haven't drunk it yet, and yeah, no, I'll be a bit more risque next time. Don't worry. You like it when I do take the mickey out of you anyway, don't you?
I'm not asking you to do anything you don't want to do. The question I've got for you, fundamental question, is Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the Conservative Party, hasn't been able to reverse the decline. Remarkably, in my political experience, has presided over a further decline in the actual electoral polling of the Conservatives, which I didn't think was possible, and made the effort to come to a local election which was lost by the Conservatives. Do you think this could have a practical, longer-term impact?
Well, I think it shows poor judgment on her side to do that, but the relevance of it, I think we need to question. The problem with the Tory party is not its leader. The problem with the Tory party is their history, their broken brand, and the fact that it's a systemic problem through the whole party and CCHQ. This is not an easy turnaround by putting a new leader in front of it. The whole party is still a sort of more of a liberal Democrat in a bad way party and global socialist.
Well, sorry, explain CCHQ. What does that mean?
Well, basically, the way the Tory party is set up, they have this sort of almost anonymous body in the middle of it that controls an awful lot of the party through tentacles. You probably know the structure of it better than I do with your 40 plus years in politics.
You're making me sound arrogant now. It's true.
People tend to do that themselves. But no, I wasn't.
You're teaching me humility.
I wasn't going down that path. It's just that you probably do know more about the structure of the party than I do. So I was sort of throwing the ball back to you on that one.
Well, Conservative Central Office, that's what we're talking about. This great thing in the middle, which was, in its infinite wisdom, minded to send Kemi Badenoch to a by-election to defeat you, Alan Cook, you personally, Alan Cook, and they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
They just couldn't do it. And I'm told there was quite a heavy Labour Party presence, Liberal Democrat presence, with a very, very tetchy candidate, the Liberal Democrats, who I understand used to be a Conservative. Is that right?
Yeah. So funny that. So the Lib Dem was a Conservative until recently. So if you vote Lib Dem, you get a Conservative. And if the Lib Dems actually did any better, if you voted Conservative and split the vote, you might have got a Lib Dem. So, it's quite a topsy-turvy world.
A Liberal Democrat.
I met her a few times and I found her really quite pleasant, actually.
Well, yes, but I absolutely know for a fact she was saying in the election that Ukraine was her number one priority. I still can't get over why somebody would be going on and on about that in a local government election. But it doesn't matter. She came forth anyway. Right. So your next steps then. What do you do now you've been elected? Do you have to go for a swearing in? Do you have to go and sign up for your expenses? Do you get posh dinners and free tickets to Wimbledon or something?
I'm going to have to let you know the next time I'm on, won't I? I'm going in at 11:30 to be shown around and to basically be told how it all works and operates. So they said allow an hour for that. So by 12:30, I'll know an awful lot more.
And at that point, then, do you get introduced to Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum?
That's going to be interesting because, I'm going to make a nuisance of myself in there. I'm going to be a fresh set of eyes. I'm very analytical. I'll probably put a different perspective on a lot of this. And I don't think politics should have a great role in local government. Fixing a pothole, it doesn't matter if you're from the left or the right, what your ideology or dogma is, it's a pothole, fill it. So I'm going to go in with a business head, not a political head. And so, they may not like that, but I'll work with anyone on any side of the politics as long as they, use common sense, push common sense forward and put the electorate first. So, forget the party politics.
And does this do you good with Nigel Farage? Do you think he will actually, do you think you'll get a personal career benefit from this? Maybe you haven't thought about it. Will this man be pleased that his face
of course he's
was
going to be
all over
happy.
Bromley?
He's local to down here, and I spoke to him recently, and he wanted us to win here, very much so.
Obviously he did. Obviously he wanted you to win.
Yeah, but we'll have a victory party quite soon. Let's see if he pops down. I've heard he likes a pint and a fag, so we'll wait and see.
Well, congratulations, and you must be exhausted but lifted by the adrenaline of being a councillor. I remember when I won in 1992. All those years ago, when I became so wise, wise enough to
Absolutely.
lose in 2010.
I think I remember seeing the announcement on TV in black and white. It was, yeah, quite moving.
I think a lot of people remember seeing the announcement of me losing my parliamentary seat. But I can say that I really enjoyed being a councillor. I have to tell you, I actually enjoyed that more than being
Well, that's good
a
to
member
hear.
of Parliament. So congratulations, and thanks for giving us this exclusive first interview, Councillor Alan Cook. That's quite remarkable. That is Councillor Alan Cook, who got elected about 9 hours ago. And it's a landmark change. Make no mistake, I may be having light conversation with Alan Cook, but I can tell you as a seasoned observer and participant in the political world, it is a stunning victory for Reform UK. And it does indicate that the Conservatives continue their decline and Reform UK continues their actual progression in the ballot box. You may or may not like Reform UK, but be aware this new kid on the block is beating all the other parties at their own game. Thanks very much for watching. Do have your say as well. But Reform UK is now established in London with a political first. Kemi Badenoch went to this by-election, this local little government by-election. And I understand that Nigel Farage did not. But Nigel Farage's man won and Kemi Badenoch's man lost. What does it mean for the Conservatives? We'll see. They'll play it down, of course. But the reality is this only increases the likelihood of Prime Minister Nigel Farage. I'm Lembit Öpik. This is Unprecedented TV. We'll see you shortly.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
Boring. 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 Boring.
You got it work. Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
I call again for immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the return of the sausages, the hostages,